Hey, how's it going, guys? So I appreciate your patience in waiting for this review, but here we have the premium Bandai HGUC G-Parts Hrududu. So this is a premium Bandai Advanced Hazel parts set here. It is its own thing. The G-Parts Hrududu is its own kind of flyer thing, but of course I think most people are going to be buying this as an add-on set to their Advanced Hazel kits, like namely the Hazel Custom or other versions of the Hazel. So you're going to be using this as an add-on for that. And there's different combinations that you can do. If you have two of them, you can form them into the dual combination of them, or you can make different forms of the Hazel, like I said, different forms of the shields and things using parts that you have included with this. So we'll go over as much of that as I can here in the review, because I do have other kits to use with that. But as for what you get in the box, it's pretty simple. Essentially what you're seeing here is pretty much all that you get. You do also get a set of waterslide decals and a handful of connection pieces that you're going to be using for some of the other different combinations, things that you're going to use this for, and I'll show you that stuff here in a moment. But as it is, this is pretty much it. The color separation is really nice. The articulation of, what it is basically, and there's not really a whole lot of articulation really necessary for what it is, but it is there anyway, so we'll go over that. The details are nice as well. It comes with the stand, obviously. You kind of need that, and it is also available in the combat deployment colors, which I also have one of here, so I can show you that. Now, there is no difference in the actual kit between the combat deployment colors, obviously just the colors difference. The water sides are also totally exactly the same. The only difference is going to be in the manual. The manual for them shows you how to build different forms of them, so we'll go over that in a moment. I'll show you what's included in the manuals for the instructions there. But as always, guys, a huge thank you to USA Gundam Store for making the review possible. If you are interested in any P Bandai stuff like this or anything there on their site, you can save 10% off everything there using the coupon code ZakuAurelius10. So check the link to their site and the coupon code down there in the video description. Now let's get into this a little bit more detail. Alright, so like I said, here is the waterslide decal sheet, which is going to be the same for both of the kits. Whichever version you get, the waterslide decal sheet is exactly the same. You just have a few of the Omeka logos there in white and black, Titans Test Team logos, 4 of those in white, and then the cool twin rabbit logo, the kind of Pisces rabbit logo there in also white and black. The main logo there is in, of course, just white. It's all just a colored logo, but the text at the top and bottom of that is in white and in black, so you'll be able to use that with either color version, whichever you end up using with that for. And then the 6 different connector pieces that you have included here for this that you can use for the different versions that we're going to make with it. Now, as for the manual, it's pretty funny how basically like half the manual is construction and the other half of the manual is all just going over how to make some different variations. So this is just the regular G-Parts Hrududu, the white version of this. In here we have the instructions for how to make the Hrududu dual combination forms. That'd be if you have 2 of them. It goes over how to make that, and then also goes over how to make the Hazel Rah. So it'll show you how to make that, which is combining a Hazel Custom with just the parts included here as well. And then over here, it also shows you how to make the long blade rifle by combining the parts included with this of the long blade rifle with the Hazel Customs, or other versions of the Hazel also include this, just the regular standard Hazel beam rifle there. You use that along with the parts here included with this to make the long blade rifle. So that is it for what is included in the regular Hrududu manual. As for the combat deployment colors version of the manual here, it's got all the construction, and then it does also here show you how to make the Hrududu dual combination form, so it does show you that as well. That is the same, but after that it's different. Here, instead of just the Hazel Rah, this will show us how to make the Hazel Rah second form. So with this, you need the Hazel, the Advanced Hazel, as well as 2 of the Hrududus. So you'll need 2 of those to put the parts on the back as well as parts on the side. So making that, so it's just like with the MG, they did the instruction manuals for the mass grade versions of this the same way. And then over here we do also have, it'll show you how to make the shield boosters. You're using the part from this and 2 shield boosters you can use to make the super shield booster there, and then once again instructions on making the long blade rifle there as well. So let's go ahead and start from the beginning, making the dual form first. Alright, so here it is in the dual combination form. It's relatively simple. You just kind of mix and match the parts around of 2 of them together and you get this really cool looking form. Now I will say, as much as the Hrududu in its original form and the now in the dual combination form, it's pretty much just a big mash of parts just mashed together, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But I will say about both forms is that I do like them as much as they're just a big mashup of just random parts. Basically, they do look really cool. Somehow they managed to look like some pretty cool mashups of parts. I don't know, it could just be biased just because I'm just in love with Advanced Zeta designs in general. I think just aesthetically they're very pleasing to my personal taste. But yeah, as messy as they do still look pretty cool. But like I said before, I am still thinking that probably not a lot of people are going to ultimately want to make and display this form of it. You guys are probably going to want to buy these parts to combine them with the Hazel, so we're going to take a look at that after one thing that I did forget to do. One thing first, I should also mention that you can also take your beam effect part from your HG Hazel kit and stick this into here, into the front of there for the beam saber that it's got there at the front. So it's not included with this kit, unfortunately, but you can take pretty much any beam saber effect part, but specifically this smaller size one, like the ones that are used for the Hazel kit, as an added bit onto there. So what I meant to go over before that I missed was just talking a little bit about the articulation that this thing has. It's not really going to be too much because it's just kind of meant to just fly along as it is. But of course, each of these side bits can be moved up and down like that. These parts on the front of here aren't attached by much. It's just basically kind of fitting into there a little bit. So they're not really super strongly attached into there. So just be a little bit careful about that. Touching them the wrong way, they are going to fall out pretty easily. You can also rotate these bits, but it's not exactly a rotating peg. It's actually a hexagonal peg, so it's kind of, you could rotate it, but eventually it's just gonna kind of wear down this peg. So it's better to just pull that off and then reattach it a different way if you wanted it at a different angle. But it's not really going to be for any purpose. It's just kind of meant to be straight like that, but you could change the angle, I suppose. Now here on the back, that's where this is going to plug into the action base. We have this adapter there for that just plugs straight into there. So of course with this type of action base, you could change the angle of that a little bit up and down, up or down I should say, if you wanted to, but it doesn't really give you a whole lot of range of movement for that. It's basically just kind of meant to be posted on there, so it's just flying straight ahead. But you do have some nice color separation, of course, with the yellow bits inside there, and then over here on the other side you have a couple little yellow bits there. That's all actual yellow pieces. There's no foil stickers for this at all. Also the claw side, as you just saw momentarily ago on the dual combination form, this does slide out like that, and then this part opens up like that for the claw bit, which we'll see more again here in a little bit. But for now, alright, let's move on with making the Hazel Rah. The first thing, in order to make the Hazel Rah, for our Hazel Custom here, you need to omit the red piece there for the cockpit hatch, or either just, omit it during the construction or take it out later on. It's easy enough to take out, so you need to remove that so that you can put this new part on here for the front of the chest. Alright, so here it is, and it is very awesome. I gotta say, the nice thing about the HG is that it's a lot less, it feels a lot less cumbersome than the HG. Obviously with the HG you're dealing with much larger parts and it's just heavier, and it's just kind of, yeah, a little bit harder to work with. I think with the HG, everything's nice and small, simple, so very light, easy to work with. The weight issue is not as big of a problem with this. Now of course, the way that the action base connects onto the back of the Hrududu there is a bit weird. It's going to be kind of maybe hard to get it into up on a action base in some really super dynamic pose. It's still actually resting its feet on the base there, even though I'm trying to go for a sort of flying pose. It's not actually completely suspended up in the air. I think what you could definitely do, of course, is to make your own action base adapter or action base plug-in point, again just by taking a 3mm drill, just drilling up into the crotch there as the normal, and just plug an action base up into there. But this thing is going to be, of course, very back heavy now, with the Hrududu basically attached onto the Hazel Custom's backpack there, up on top of there. Also, the long blade rifle looks awesome, but it's a little bit tricky to get it to hold it because the back end of that is also very long, so getting that tucked up underneath the arm, the wrist is just not made to hold a rifle that is, or anything bazooka or anything that's long and tucked up underneath the arm, so the wrist is kind of just barely hanging on there. It's not really meant to be at such an angle like that, but it's holding on there well enough at the moment. And also the Hrududu parts that attach onto the beam rifle feel a little bit loose. It's not really that big of an issue, but they just don't hold onto the rifle as firmly as everything else in this kit. It's just a small thing, but just want to point that out to you guys. So maybe just be prepared to just glue those parts later on once you get around to painting or just attaching those parts if you want them attached on there permanently. But for now, let's move on to the Hazel Rah second form, and for that we're going to need the Advanced Hazel HG and 2 Hrududus, so let's get it. First, a couple more interesting points about this. In the manual, it actually says to use the Hazel Custom for this, but you clearly need the head and feet parts of the Advanced Hazel. So anyway, you also have to admit the front articulated sub arms on the front skirt there. Take those off. You have to once again remove the cockpit piece there for attaching on those parts here onto the front. And then the Advanced Hazel actually uses a different part here for the backpack, but you do have the extra parts to make this part of the backpack that you need. So make sure you keep those extra parts so that you can make this part which you need for making this combination. Otherwise, you'll have to take that off of the Hazel Custom and put it on here. It won't match the color straight out of the box. You can always paint it, of course, but just make sure you use these parts here. And one more thing here, there's a step where you have to take off the ammo from the side skirt of the Hazel Custom or Advanced Hazel, and then you're supposed to stick it onto here, onto the Hrududu parts. Now it's supposed to just go onto here like that and stay on, but it falls off very easily, so you're definitely going to have to glue this part in later on, or stick some sticky tack or something in there, some way to make that stick in there. For the time being, I'm just not going to plug it on there because I don't feel like gluing it at the moment, and so we're just going to go without that, but just know that it is meant to be plugged onto there. Alright, so the Hazel Rah second form here with the double shield booster there and the long blade rifle all in tow. This thing is a massive beast. I mean, we've seen this already in master grade form, and like I said, the thing was just so super cumbersome in master grade form. In high grade form here, it's a lot more manageable. Of course, it's going to be a lot cheaper, easier on your wallet if you wanted to make this in high grade form as well. But either way, I'm not saying anything bad about the master grade form because it's pretty awesome in its own sense as well. I've got everything but love for that one as well, but this thing here also very awesome. And yeah, if you're an Advanced Zeta fan, this is definitely the kind of thing that you're going to be into. Obviously, in this form, it's not really going to be able to do a whole lot because it's pretty weighed down by everything there, but you can still, of course, just make it look awesome just as it is with everything all attached on there. So I'm using also the combination of two of just the regular white Hrududus. The combat deployment Hrududu, I haven't used any of the combinations that I've shown you guys so far. I just showed it to you there at the beginning. And also for the shield booster there, I'm using one of the shield boosters from the Hazel Custom and the one from the Advanced Hazel, so you'll need two of those for that, of course. So at the end of the day, this G-Parts Hrududu set does allow you to make some pretty awesome combinations of the Hazel, or just a little cool thing on its own, but definitely I think once again the main draw of this is going to be in the combinations. So awesome kit, awesome set. It's definitely worth the price, even if you have to buy it through a proxy seller, as most people living abroad will have to do. With this being an HG and with it meant to be used mostly with the HG Hazel kits, which are older HG kits, you have a lot of seam lines on there, a lot of little details and everything that you will have to paint in if you want to have it completely color accurate. But if you're willing to put in all the work, you're going to have a pretty epic kit here at the end of the day. So that's pretty much it for the review, guys. Hopefully I covered everything for you. If you did still have any other questions or comments, of course, feel free to leave those down below. We do still have yet the Primrose part set as well to review, so looking forward to that. We're going to have a bunch of more cool combinations that we can make with the Primrose as well. So I'll see you guys in that review coming up in the near future. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.